office, the president and deputy president, who violated the 2010 Constitution, Chapter 6, to get into power. So if I come to your home now, Eric, if I come to your home, I get you are not there, I break the door and I go to your fridge, I get a drink, I sit down, I start drinking. And when you come in, you don't say anything. There is something wrong with me, definitely. So how did you expect Uhuru and Ruto, who violated Chapter 6 of the Constitution, to respect this Constitution? And that's why you see from 2013 until today, this constitution is being violated right, left, center. People with integrity issues, people who are corrupt, the DPP who are supposed to be independent is being tossed around like a toy. He's being told, release this, Kamata, who you name it. There you are. So until we get somebody who is ready to implement the 2010 Constitution, we are going nowhere. Hata nimalizia hapo, lakini don't expect anything. Expect Kenya to continue getting into deeper into poverty, into debt and everything until we get somebody who is ready to tackle corruption head on and to respect the 2010 Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to give a few moments to Bonnie Mwangi to speak to us because Bonnie has to drop off and get onto other engagements. Bonnie, what would you say is your exit remark, and then we shall extend this. I hope Morara, you can stay with us for another 20 minutes so you can hear some few more people. Bonnie.
Yeah, can you... Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead,
Okay,
Bonnie.
thank you. My party message for Kenyans is this, and I said this before, the time for passive citizenship is over. We have for a long time, in my view, left governing to, and I'm just going to call it like it is, clowns and thieves. We need to get involved, because if we don't get involved, we end up in a situation like the one that we have on our hands. It's a serious issue. We need to fix our country, and we're not going to fix our country by having the same people that have put us there fix it, right? Right now, the reason why we have 11 trillion in debt is because our parliament has not stepped up and made sure that they hold the executive branch accountable. You cannot raise debt by 450% when you can't show that you have the ability to service that debt. We need to get involved. We need to make sure that we're choosing the right people in office, and we need to hold them accountable. Do not be a passive citizen. That doesn't work anymore. Thank you for the opportunity, Eric, and everyone for joining.
Thank you very much, Bonnie, and I hope to engage with you again soon and in the future, just to highlight the issues that you've been raising. Keep doing the good work. I'm sure everybody will clap. Anybody who's able to clap for Bonnie as he leaves, just go ahead and put up that emoji, clap for him, and say Asante Sana. Keep doing the good work that you're doing, Bonnie. We are behind you. We are supporting you. We are waiting to consume all the information that you churn out for us. Keep doing that. Asante Sana. Ndinda, you have the mic for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Latif. I think my submission is very simple. At this point, I feel like we should extend this civic education to civic participation as well. Because my feeling is that, for the longest, Kenyans have just been participating through voting. And it's for the very first time that we are seeing that the process of governance is more than just voting. I mean, it's just with this protest that I can see a lot of us Kenyans are becoming aware of things like how can we recall our MPs. So I think going forward, we need to understand how we can participate through provisions in the constitutions in the process of governance. Like at the end of voting, that's not where things end. Then the second thing I would speak about is the translation of the constitution, because I don't think everyone truly understands it. And when I say translation, I don't mean like languages. I just mean like illustrating it in a way that the masses can understand it. When you look at what Morara is doing, for example, it's translating what corruption means to the masses, so that in the heads of, maybe our parents, they are able to understand when we say this government is stealing, it means a certain thing. And I usually refer to the rites of passage in our, communities, where every person would know who they are, what their responsibility is, depending on what position they are bestowed. So I think in that way we are lacking, where most of us don't know with this new form of governance, because democracy has been brought to us. We do not know what our responsibilities are and how we can participate. I think that's where the translation comes in, so that even the old people can vie for these seats and they can execute because they know what is expected of them. And as a movement, the last thing I would say is just to keep on sharing each other's work. I don't think every one of us has a big platform or like such big influence, but if we keep on sharing each other's work, because as Morara said, and a lot of other speakers have heard, it's like everybody should do whatever little they can. But I think to push that little, there also needs all of us to like push each other's work. I think that could be very helpful. That's it for me. Thank you for hosting, and thank you everyone for joining, and I'm happy to hear from
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you, Ndinda. Mizani 254, you have 2 minutes rather with the mic, and then Kenya, you also have 2 minutes. Actually, we can accommodate more people. It's 1.5 minutes.
Well,
Mizani, go ahead.
That was quick. Thank you, Eric, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. I'll make it very quick. In 2007, 2008, a child that was the age of 5 could comprehend what was happening, and therefore today they are the age of 22. On the 27th of December 2007, 2008, post-election violence saw to a number of Kenyans losing their lives. And the 27th of August, like we speak today, August 2010, we would have then a new constitution. So as I speak today, we are looking into Tuesday being another anniversary of 14 years. And one of the fundamental questions that we have failed to respond to is, what is justice? Many believe that justice, it's all about who have their day. But eventually, if you look through and sieve through, Kenyans have been asking about economic justice, social justice. We've even asked about political justice. And because time is not on my end, I will refer us to the first stanza of our national anthem as my closing remarks. It states, or rather reads, "O God of all creation, bless this our land and nation." And interestingly, it goes to "Justice be our shield and defender. May we dwell in unity, peace, and liberty. Plenty be found within our borders." This country has been sold peace, but nobody talks about justice and nobody talks about the plenty that comes with it. It is high time that Kenyans, as we advocate for citizen accountability, we demand for more justice, even as we procure for peace. Thank you, and I do appreciate the time, Eric.
Very well said, Mizani. Very well said. Justice be our shield and defender. Kenya, 1.5 minutes.
Thank you, Eric. I'm here specifically to talk to the young people and the young people of this country, Kenya. I'm here to urge you guys to know that we have a huge responsibility and a huge role that we are supposed to play in making of the new Kenya that we want. So this aspect of civic education, I want us to take it as our personal responsibility. Any small role that you can play, whether it's in the village, whether it's in the city, whether it's in the ghetto, any other place, make sure you take this responsibility as your personal responsibility, because the political class doesn't have the time and doesn't have the time. We have all the time. The next 30 to 50 years, we will still be around in this country. So guys, don't let our country go to waste when we have an opportunity. Thank you. That was the message to all the young people like me. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Kenya. Boni Witi, 1.5.
Thanks, Latif. Thank you, Morara. Don't be cowed by guys like Kigen, government apologists, who might want to derail you. We love what you're doing and we support everything that you're doing. I want to talk about two things, Eric. I'm really concerned about the SHIF and university issue. Our education system and the health system. William Ruto cannot, Kenyans know, everyone knows, cannot come out with a policy, a system to help Kenyans. Why are we allowing them the crooks, to destroy the two fundamental systems in a country, the health system and the education system. Those are the two reasons that can take me back to the streets today. So, to fellow Kenyans, let us not allow this to see the light of day. I've insisted since the time we started these demonstrations, SHIF will kill our health system because the intention behind it is clear: to steal, not to help people. NHIF was working, at least to some extent. It has worked for me. I've seen it work. Why scrap it all together? The HELB has helped people to go to school. It has taken students to school and we've seen it work. Why scrap it all together? Come up with a ghost thing that we don't know where the tail and the head is. We can't allow this to happen. So as we are commemorating this anniversary of the Constitution, those are two things that the Constitution states clearly are rights. The health, the education is a right. Let us not let Ruto ruin that for us. That is all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Guys, do not give up. We are on.
Asante, Bonnie. Redemptor, 1.5 minutes.
Asante sana, Eric. Thank you to the other speakers who seem to have left. Mine is in keeping with the topic, Katiba at 14, as citizens, accountability comes of age. 14 years is a teenager who is just becoming self-aware. If you have ever driven teenagers in a car, you know if they have gadgets on their hands, they will not even look up, they will not look on their side. And Kenya is exactly there. They were doing fine until they started hitting potholes and the vehicle was swerving off the road, and then now they are screaming. Now they've put their gadgets down. A previous speaker asked who decides on what developments will happen in the county. Just as a point of information, that I was very old when I discovered what CIDP is. This is a County Integrated Development Plan, which should have come as one of the best things that came with devolution. Unfortunately, there was no civic education on Katiba in 2010, and it was left to the drivers of the counties. And some were drivers with criminal intent. They had no goodwill, and so they did not encourage citizens to know their rights when it comes to public participation, except the county of Makueni. I had the privilege in 2022, December, to go around. I went around 4 counties to find out how CIDP and public participation works. For your information, a governor is elected in August or September, and CIDP, the budgets have to be done in December of the same year. And what is decided in that short period is what will happen in that county for 5 years. So when I see launching and I see a lot of debate about how it happened, it's because if there's no goodwill in civic education, then CIDP and public participation also fails. My last submission is based on a speaker who came here and started using words that I've heard, that is anarchy, criminals, goons. These words are about Article 37, which should not be a cause of death. The criminalization of voices of dissent is someone who wants to take us back to the old days. Article 37 came so that those who have died, so that people can speak up, so that Morara can do what he's doing. They did not die in vain. And we cannot afford for people to come and use these words so that they remove part of the Constitution. Those are my submissions, and thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Redemptor. I'll be closing the conversation at past, but we will close with a parting shot from Morara. So before then, I just want to pick a couple more speakers. Kennedy, you have the mic next, and then Njiru, you'll come in next, 1.5 minutes each, and then we'll go to, I'll see who else I'll be able to pick. Many people have requested. I'm just randomly picking and trying also to balance between gender and all. Kennedy, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Eric, for the opportunity. I think without mincing words, we are in an active crime scene. The only missing element is being coded off by the police because they've turned out to be the enablers of crimes against humanity. Everyone is speaking about peace, but peace without justice is equally useless. The rule of law the essence of the Constitution, justice is the Constitution. So the moment the rule of law and constitutionalism is only applicable to the poor, then we do not have a country here. The role that most of us have been doing of civic education is to ensure that citizenry benefit most from the government policies and programs, something that has been left in the dustbin. Public participation is no longer what it is envisioned in the Constitution, rather a political event where people with differing political opinions get an opportunity to misguide the citizens while using them as triggers to pass their own selfish agenda. The only thing that we can do as a people is to always resist, because if defiance becomes a norm, then we have to resist every other attempt by the executive to usurp all the powers that is bestowed upon these independent institutions. I do ask myself in most instances, how independent is it that our institutions are? They are not yet independent. We are comparing Kenya to developed countries. What we fail to acknowledge is that thieves are being hanged in those countries. When you speak of that, they tell you there is no rule of law in those countries, yet they are doing very well. So as a people of Kenya, it is high time we remain strong, because we are on our own. These guys are united to finish us. Thank you.
Kennedy, Asante. Nyarude, 1.5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Eric, for the opportunity. Mine is to adopt the submissions by most of the speakers, to the extent that there is need for citizen vigilance insofar as accountability, pushing for accountability and transparency is concerned. Two things. One, for the longest time, there's a lot of vigilance towards what happens at the national level. My challenge would be that it's about time that we also focus on the counties. In our own local ways, in our own little ways, we focus on what happens at the county, because counties are subset of the national government. Why is it important? It's important because a rough estimate, if you take hypothetically that every year county governments are getting allocated 400 billion as equitable share, then in 10 years, that comes down to 4 trillion that they have gotten in 10 years. It's about time we ask ourselves, have we gotten value for money for the 4 trillion that has been spent in the default system of government? If the answer on this, your guess is as good as mine. Therefore, it behoves every one of us to push for accountability at our own local level. Let those who play it at the national level play it, and let those who play it at the local level play, because at the bare minimum, devolution was meant to devolve or to transfer power, both fiscal and political power, to the grassroots level. And lastly on this is that there is need to ensure that we hold our leaders accountable and check all the process of the budget. For the longest time, people have been focusing on the formulation stage and neglecting the other stages. Therefore, it's important that we also pay attention to oversight, which is the execution stage, to ensure that which finally got money allocated on, is it spent and is it prudent use of resources? And therefore, if we do not take part in choosing how our money is mobilized and spent on us, then we'll be losing it. Thank you.
Asante. Thank you very much. Sami Moraya, economist, and then after you, we'll hear from Moto Kitchen.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Eric Latif, for the opportunity, and for the interest of time, I'll take the shortest time possible. First of all, I want to, I'm so delighted for the good work that Morara Kebaso is doing. In fact, Morara was my junior at Kenyatta University when I was in second. I was in third year, he was in first year, and I'm glad for what he's doing. And for now, what I can say, Kenyans, we have come at a place that we can say we have become angry enough. And we have become angry enough because of the free education that was offered for us by President Kibaki. So when a generation become enlightened, it's not easily manipulated. What I can basically say, our country has been a crime scene. For example, I have been looking for the projects that are being carried by the county government through the offices of the MCAs. In a ward like Lanetu Moja, where I come from, in Nakuru, you find that a construction of a modern toilet in an ECD center called Mireroni, it was budgeted at 1.4. And again, to make the matter more worse, the ward administrator's office, it was supposed to be fenced, and it was allocated 2 million. I was at the ward administrator's office yesterday. There was no offense there. So what I can say, the economic crimes that are in this country are beyond control. So the government, instead of overtaxing us, let it come to its senses, cut its expenses, fight with the rooters, and fight the corruption. And as an economist, I can say there is no any single country that has ever grown through overtaxation of its citizens. What they are supposed to do, they are supposed to expand they are generally supposed to expand the tax base. And again, according to the new funding model at the university level, that funding model is venomous as venom itself. And again, there is a lot of evil things going on with this NGCDF thing, because when you see that the MPs are given that mandate to do some construction work. Hello.
Time is up. Time is up.
Yeah. Let me patch what I'm finishing up. When the MPs are giving them mandate of foreseeing works like the construction of toilets, construction of streets and classes, how I wish we can go back to our parliament and bring back the public works, and the public works will be the ones who will be controlling such works. And now the MPs, the legislatures, they are left with they are left with the work of making laws in our country. And thank you a lot for the opportunity.
Thank you, Sami. Moto, and
yes. Hi everyone. My name is Linda Stewart from Delaware, Moto Kitchen, and I wanted to chime in to somebody's comment who had encouraged everyone that we have a role to play as the public. I always say the public because we are the citizens versus the government, with the policies that they continue to implement without our contribution. So we, at this point, in as much as we are speaking about the policies and where the government has failed us, I would kind of like to throw this statement to my fellow Kenyans so that it can marinate and sink into your mind as we continue with the fight. Because pretty much right now, with the war in Ukraine, we are actually going to enter into a season of tribulation where we're going to experience famine, for several years. So for me, I would encourage the people who are back home and have generational wealth in terms of land to at least start investing in farming. I know there's many people there who don't utilize their generational wealth, farmland that they've acquired from the family. So that is one critical component that I'd like to encourage you guys. And then I'm going to do my part also by pulling my diaspora team to see how people can also start, tapping into their families back home.
Thank you, Linda.
Then one more statement, sorry, that I wanted to say, it is unfortunate that our government has failed to protect us, knowing the role that Kenya plays in Africa when it comes to trade and investment and the infrastructure plan. So I believe that we're in a season where we have to fight to liberate ourselves, because if we don't, we are going to end up being slaves. So keep up the fight and know that Kenyans have always been resilient, and we are the ones who are going to carry the world through this season. So don't back down. Let's do what's right. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Conversations are continuing as well on the comment section where it's very engaging. You can go in there as well and add your voice to this. We want to hear quickly in this order, Tevin and then Dante and then Daniel Muli. Tevo, go first.
Thank you so much, Eric, and nice to share a platform with Morara, who was dispensing wisdom carelessly. Everything this government touches is either fraud or a scandal. Now they are printing new notes costing taxpayers money, 15 billion Kenya shillings. Yet they have shares on Delaru. This government has sold us to the highest bidder. And look at the livestock bill brought by Kimani Chungwa, land bill, price control bill by Tabitha Mutinda, nights and crops bill by Hamida Kibwana. Our food system is under attack. The Maisha cards have the microchips. So you talked about the TB vaccine on your show sometime a while back. I went and did a research. I found that this vaccine is being tested in 100 years for first time in Kenya. They're currently injecting people in Kisumu, Machakos, and Mombasa. I always discuss on Bill Gates and IMF policies on my page, and anyone can follow me. So I want to conclude by a quote from a great leader, Thomas Sankara, that it's either we drink champagne with a few, or provide water for all. We are Kenyans, and Kenya is our business. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tevin. Dante?
Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, Morara, for the wisdom you've been giving us the whole of this since we started this fight. Now, what I want to tell our fellow brothers and sisters and Kenyans in general is that we are not supposed to relent. Let us keep fighting, because at the moment we've reached a top notch where the government is also afraid of us, and we are keeping on injecting. So my fight goes against the new university funding model. That thing really sucks, because the children of the poor cannot go now to the school. Look at the student leaders today. They met the president in the state house, and they were given some small tips to go and fight this thing to be injected to the student. Now, let us fight this thing, because we need to learn, we need to be educated so that we can fight and know what is best for us. Let us keep fighting until the last time, because these guys are currently making bills in parliament that only helps them and keep them alive till the next election. So let us keep fighting, so that in the end of it all, we win, all of us. Thank you.
Asante sana, Dante. Daniel Muli.
Thank you so much, Eric, for this opportunity. First, I only have 2 points. First of all, I want to congratulate Morara for everything that he is doing. I believe he is giving the president and the entire government sleepless nights. And I wish that all his videos would be shared widely and to everybody, so that the government, specifically the president, will not continue taking us for fools where we are lied to on a daily basis. That is point number 1. Point number 2 is, my fight is with the issue of ghost workers. And the former CS actually said that has been a problem, that has been that is a plague in the government. And there are audit reports showing that every year billions of shillings are paid to ghost workers. Early in the year in the Narok County, the audit report stated that they had over 500 ghost workers. And any staff who is employed by the government can actually walk into any financial institution using their payslip and acquire credit facility. Now, assuming those 500 staff in Narok County each took a loan of 1 million Kenya shillings, that is over 500 million that has been stolen, that Kenyans will be left to pay for it. And I wish that the issue of ghost workers can be demystified, so that we can be able to understand which county, because I've been in management, every month before payroll is closed, I had to confirm the number of staff within my department, within my branch, before that list can be sent to payroll for salary processing. So the question that comes in, are there people in charge of ensuring that there are the ghost workers within their department? And if so, what are they doing about it? Lastly, the accounts being deposited, that money, the people who are withdrawing that money can be traced, yet the government isn't doing anything about it. So I'd wish that further we can be able to look into the issue of ghost workers and expose that theft and close those loopholes, because we are losing a lot of money to ghost workers. Thank you very much, Eric, and continue with the good work, Morara.
Asante, Daniel. Let's now hear from Maureen Mwenswa. Maureen? Okay, seems Maureen is not able to join us, or maybe has stepped aside away from her gadget. But thank you very much, everybody, for this conversation tonight. As we are saying, it's 14 years of the Constitution of Kenya. It's 14 years when we have been seeing citizens engaging on various platforms, taking up their role, calling out for accountability, demanding better service of the government, and also demanding better of ourselves as a people. We must continue doing that. As a people, we have a role. We have a role to demand better of each other and better of those that we elect to lead us, and even those that we put in various institutions, so that they can go ahead and provide services for all of us. Somebody has mentioned about the role of citizens in public participation. The first thing is a push for proper legislation on public participation as idealized in the Constitution. The Constitution premises every decision of government to first go through public participation for citizens' input to be put in, and so that then that becomes a decision of government. Is there a law that governs public participation? The answer is no. I think that's one of the things that as we go into 14 years of the Katiba, we must look at. How do we engage when it comes to budgets? Boni Mwangi has done the work of looking at how money is being spent and how budgets are being implemented. The same thing is happening with Morara, how our budgets are being implemented. How do we, as citizens, participate in the budget making process? There's a integrated development plan, CIDP. Every 5 years, counties review this. There's the annual development plan that then informs the budget for every financial year. How well do you know this? How well do you participate in this? How much information do you know? Even if you do not go for a meeting, there should be ways in which you're able to submit your thoughts and your memoranda on this. How much do we do that? How well do we engage on our budget making process at the national level? Do we only come in at the tail end when you're talking about the finance bill? Do we participate in thinking about the programs that ought to be implemented by the government? This is all a role of citizens. It's a responsibility that we have. We need to take this one seriously as we demand accountability from government and accountability of ourselves. Before Morara comes in and gives us his final thoughts and closing remarks, I want to go around our other speakers tonight. We had Annette Nerima, who is a public finance specialist and a practitioner. Let's hear from you, Annette, your closing remarks.
Thanks, Latif, and to all the participants tonight. We really appreciate the opportunity to join the space. And so for me, I've listened the entire time, Kenyans actually having a conversation on Katiba, and it all boils down to the fact that Kenyans will not be able to realize the social benefits that have been secured in the Constitution. And this is all happening because we have individuals with questionable integrity in the governance of this country. And these are the people that we have given the power to be able to ensure that they deliver these social benefits to us. And as I close, I think one of the things that is important to even raise, right now we see individuals who have come in, for example, when it comes to matters public date, they are reckless to a point where they're engaging institutions that give conditionalities that are not in the interest of the ordinary Kenyan. And so they would come back and extort through taxes from Kenyans just to be able to service their selfish interest at this point. When you talk about education, right now, broadly what we are seeing playing out is a privatization of public services, including the health and education as well. So these are questionable integrity, because a person of good faith, a person who has the interest of Kenyans at heart, would not sit on the table, not even fathom privatizing some of these public services, because the people who benefit from these services are Kenyans who are poor, who are in the low income cadres. And devolution in this constitution in particular broadly across very many articles is geared towards ensuring that they provide services to them. Look at Article 43 of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights as well. And so as Kenyans even continue to raise concerns, a good opportunity was presented for the government or the leadership of this country to put it right through bringing on board a new cabinet that will be able to perform, would be able to serve Kenyans. What have we seen? A recycling of same individuals with questionable integrity. We have seen them bring even more. And right now we have a cabinet secretary who is more than willing to introduce the eco-levy. And just a few months ago, just a month ago, there were the people who were posting some of these punitive taxes in the finance bill of 2024. What has just changed? For me, right now, as Kenyans, I would say that we have a government where we have the people versus the politicians. And it's high time that we need to ask ourselves, because politicians have regrouped. They have come back bigger and better in their own way. Right now, we have seen the president, for example, go back to a default mode where he keeps on promising Kenyans of goodies that may never ever come, and launching of ghost projects. As Kenyans as well, it's an opportunity for us to regroup and ask ourselves, elections are coming, what can we do? And I'm happy with the good job that Bonnie and Kebaso are doing, because right now what you are doing without knowing, maybe you're already campaigning with information, enlightening Kenyans and telling them, and also decampaigning the political class, that these people do not have the interest of Kenyans. These people have questionable integrity. And I'm certain that come 2027, people will elect in a sensible manner. People will elect from an informed point of view. And mine is to urge Kenyans in their own capacity to do that which they can do best within their skills, and also based on information and within the law, to ensure that we spotlight this government, to ensure that we are informed, so that come 2024, we can see the change that we have always wanted. Because at the end of the day, we need a change, but not this government is going to give us the change. They have already curtailed the civic freedom or civic space. It's no longer happening. I mean, you go to the street at your own risk at this point. You may lose your life, you may be abducted, but let's ensure that we engage as much as possible to create the change that we have wanted. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Annette. Betty Okero, your closing remarks.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you every single one of us who has been here today and has been patient enough right to the end. I want to finish by just stating that it is important that we understand the leaders we're dealing with. I think we've all seen them when they sneer at what they consider an inconvenience when Kenyans are demanding accountability. And so we also recognize that a number of these leaders are actually held captive by their own self-interest. In other words, what I'm saying is that there is no capacity for shame. So trying to call out their shame is actually seriously lost on them. It's not something that they consider as an issue. The second big thing for me is to be able to talk about how exhausting it can be to be able to deal with the governance and accountability issues, because we are dealing with a magnitude of rot. But it is important for Kenyans that they recognize their worth and their value. And it is that takes people out on the streets. But we also have to deal with the mistrust that we have for each other if we are to survive. Because fighting each other just simply holds us back. It drags us down. It doesn't lift us up. And yet we must remember that we're all in the same boat, struggling to be able to survive. So perhaps we have to stop seeing the enemies in those of us who are demanding accountability, and try and see how we can focus our anger and at those who continue to cause the misery and the hardship, and those who are making it difficult for us as we struggle to make ends meet. I think what Bonnie and Morara have done is also just expose the pain that we feel, knowing that even the little that we are, making, half of it is lost. And it's been eloquently exposed by them. But I think also in the spirit of solidarity, let's also try and see how we can start exposing those projects within our own counties. Show them. Let us be one and many, an army of people demanding and showing accountability. Because it is when we deal in our large numbers that it is impossible for one of us to be singled out, to be threatened or intimidated. And finally, I think for me, I don't know, but Kenya is ready for a new foundation. What we have is crumbling and has been for a very, very long time. And I think any more patchwork to it is not going to carry the weight or the burden and the challenges that we are facing. So perhaps it is time for us to wisely use our priceless weapon, which is our vote. And it is time for us to be able to consider the importance of resetting this country, because our worth and our value must continue to drive the change that we want. So thank you very much. And I hope that I'll be able to have further conversations with all of us again in this space as we continue to do and take one step at a time in our struggle to make the Kenya that we want, present. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. Morara Kebaso Senior, thank you for joining us for this conversation tonight. And as we've heard from many people who are encouraging you and telling you, keep going. Now it's time for you to close for us tonight's conversation. What is your one message or several messages that you'd like to leave us with tonight?
Watu wa X hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. Mimi nimerudi hapa X. Nilikuwa nimewaahidi wakati wa campaign kwamba hii X space hii na huyu mjumbe wenu Bwana Latif, sasa tumeweka mpango ya 10.5 billion ya hawa mama mboga na hawa watu makanga na hawa vinyozi na wale wabeba. Sasa hawa wote wakiingia katika X na kusikiza ndani ya space ambayo imehostiwa na huyu Latif huyu, tutakuwa tunawapea pesa ya serikali ya bure 10 million kila mtu ili muweze kujipanga. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Sasa nataka mnisikize hivi. Na nataka mnisikize vizuri. Si mimi ndio niliwaahidi kwamba kati ya miezi 6 Kamarini Stadium will be complete. Ni kweli si kweli? Si mimi ndio niliwaahidi kwamba the stadium in Wote in another 3 months will be complete. Ni kweli si kweli? Sasa hiyo mpango yote mimi nimeweza kutekeleza. Sasa nitaweka pesa ingine kwa hii finance bill inakuja. Na mimi nataka niwaambie hivi. Nataka muombe taifa letu ili tuwe na amani. Nataka kuambia hawa mabishop na hawa intercessors ambao tumeandika katika ikulu kuu waweze kuombea taifa letu ili taifa letu iwe na amani. Hatutaki siasa ya fujo. Hatutaki siasa ya maandamano. Hawa generation zote movement hawa wananiambia ati wako faceless. Ati wako leaderless. Si hawa ni watu formless. Nyinyi watu hapa X mnasemaje? Situweke mpango. Situlete kila mtu katika serikali yetu ya bread based. Ili kila mtu aweze kupata mtu kutoka kwa kabila lake ambaye anaweza kuiba mali ya umma ampelekee. Ni kweli si kweli? Sijui kama tunaelewana. Now this is what I want to tell you fellow Kenyans. Mimi kama Morara, whenever I do those skits, it's not only for entertainment. It is also for education. Because I know that the class can be boring. The lesson is long. But I want all of you to know that Kenya ni home. Kitu ya kwanza, don't fear to stand for truth. Mtu asikuzie uoga, uko nyumbani. And anyway, don't fear to die. We are not getting out of this alive. We are all condemned to die from the day we are born. The moment you are born, you will die. So usiuziwe uoga ati sijui nini itakufanyikia, what will happen. That is neither here nor there. It is a multiplication of 0 raised to power infinity. It is hot air and it belongs straight in the dustbin. We are at home. We must do constitutional reforms. We must flush this toilet of leaders who have taken hostage of our country. We must finish corruption. We must finish weaponized incompetence. We must finish budgeted corruption in our governance. And you, my friend, who is listening to me, can do something about it. You don't have to be Latif. You don't have to be Morara for you to do something. In your little space, in your little place of influence, in the office where you are with colleagues, in your church, in your chama, When you are out on a date with your boyfriend or out on a date with your girlfriend, spare 5 minutes to talk about bad governance. That is the way we are going to change our nation. Everything begins with a conversation. Everything begins with words. In fact, the earth and heaven as you know it exists because the word came from the mouth of God and it became reality. Kwa hivyo, don't fear to speak. The more you speak, the more people listen. And the more they listen, the more they realize. Do not be discouraged. Usihost Twitter space watu wakuje watu 10 uone you know now me I'm not a big wig, I'm trying, I'm failing. No. Unaona hao watu 10, those are your disciples. Make sure you transform the world with your 10 people. There is something every Kenyan can do with their skill and with their talent and with their access. If you are a government official, you work in the government, you are here listening to me today using a fake account, you're worried that you might be fired if you speak too much. Don't worry. Tumia hiyo pseudo account yako, inbox us, tell us about what is going on in our governance. Give us the information. Give us the ammunition. Because serikali unapata in a whole ministry watu wanafaidika na hii wizi ni watu 10. The rest are wallowing in poverty, wamekatwa mapesi paka pesa imeisha. Government employees, you are 1 million of you. Msiogope kutetea taifa lenu. Come out and defend it. Like that officer who gave me his payslip today for me to prove to Kenyans that the government did not add police constables 40% salary. It was only 13%. That is a brave man. Everybody akifanya hivyo, I can tell you Kenya will be redeemed and it will not take long. And you people should not be worried. At the street protest imeisha. The only reason we did not succeed is because other Kenyans did not join us. And do you know why they didn't join us? Because we didn't spread the gospel to them. We didn't give them the memo. They are unaware of what is going on. They are politically illiterate. We must make sure local radio stations, Muga FM, Kameme FM, Minto FM, Egesa, we must go to those local stations and talk to our people in the language that they understand. Remember, when you speak to people in a language that they can hear, it goes to their brain. But if you speak to them in their language, it goes to their heart. Make sure that in the little space that you occupy, you do the little that you can do for the betterment of our nation. I, as Morara Kebaso, I pledge my loyalty to the people of Kenya. I am your public property. Do not be cheated by bloggers posting pictures and what have you. That is hot air. I am stupidly loyal to the people of Kenya and to the cause. I will not abandon you until we get good governance. And I'm not interested in any governance position or political. I don't want. I just want good governance. Nirudi nikafanya biashara yangu, I will be on Forbes list. Kwa hivyo, biashara ya tokenism, siasa ya tokenism where we are given gifts and we abandon the cause. Ati unaongea kidogo unaitwa, unapewa kakitu. You abandon the people of Kenya. Again we start looking for another person to take your place. We are not going to lose anybody else. Hii Kenya tutaikomboa. Kwa hivyo mtu yoyote mwenye anakuwa offered those kind of gifts from government officials, don't take them. That is your money stolen from you. Mtu hawezi kuibia tena atumie hiyo pesa yako kujaribu kukuhonga. Kwa hivyo sisi wote tuwe very loyal to the cause. And let us do this not because we are gaining anything or because we are earning money from it or because we stand to succeed. In any case, some of us stand to lose. But let's do it because we care about our nation. If we die, so what? Who will not die? Even our killers will die. So don't fear. Msiogope na msiuziwe uoga. Fanya civic education. Nyinyi watu 1000 nyinyi. Na nimewahesabu. Nyinyi watu 1000. Kila mtu anipromise leo jioni. Ukienda, utasleep over it. Tomorrow morning, you will touch 2 people or 3 people with the civic education. Nitajua kwamba we've been able to reach 3000 people. Don't abandon the mission. We are going to succeed. It's just around the corner. Do not be discouraged. We are in this together. Use your talent and your skill and your knowledge to do whatever you can do. If you are an engineer, tell us that this road is being built badly, that according to engineering laws and according to this and this and this, the mixture of concrete is poor. They still use this poor. Tell us, if you are a civil engineer, tell us about our public project where money has been stolen. A road is built. It is supposed to be a 7-meter carriage, a 7-meter wide carriage with 2-meter walkways on both sides. And then the road is built, iko tayari na potholes 1 month later, haina passenger walks. Engineers, come out and talk about this. You are a lawyer, you can see illegalities. Come out and talk about this. You are an artist, you can sing. Come out and sing about this. You are an actor, you can act. Come out and act. Do entertainment as you educate. You are a content creator. Create content about this. You are a photographer. Use your skill. You are a hacker. Hack those websites and get us that information. There is something we call ethical hacking. Wacheni kubembeleza hawa watu and they don't play by the rules. If you can get yourself into IFMIS, no, tulete information later. We are ready and we are tuko tayari kuiweka out in the public. Wewe usiogope, ingia kwa hizo. Msikuange mnaingia tu kwa KPLC kujinunulia tokens. Ingia kwa hizo website za hao watu, tulete information which they are hiding in those systems about the theft, the wanton theft of our public funds. I want to tell you that I don't believe that this government will do anything to advance good governance because they cannot work against their own interests. These are people wenye wamekula na hawashibi. They have a bottomless pit of greed. We must flush them out and it will happen. And I thank God that it will happen during my lifetime. Thank you. Have a good night. Pray for me as I pray for you.
Morara Kebaso, thank you very much. A round of applause, please. Just go on to the stickers and put the claps, and let's all clap for Morara Kebaso. Let's also clap for Boni Mwangi. And you can follow Morara Kebaso on his X. You can just click on his account and see he is Morara Kebaso Senior. And also Boni Mwangi, who's been speaking to us as well, civic education, an economist, CPA. He's Mwangi Boni. Follow him as well. They have been doing some good work. Asanteni sana everybody for joining this space. We'll host another one soon. But remember, the Constitution is now a teenager. What is it that we see working for our Constitution? I am one of those people that believe that we don't need to touch a single dot or cross from this Constitution until we fully implement it and adhere to the spirit and letter of the Constitution. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day, good night, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Until the next time. Kwaherini.